Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark,
And I'm Rob.
and today we're going to recap Game 29 of the Indian Fever, a loss to the Minnesota Lynx, 90-80. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so and hit the notification bell when you do. Don't get Rob upset. He wants more subscribers. We're over 3,500 now. We're going for 4,000.
Please.
As usual, Christy Sides did the wrong thing. As I predicted in our preview, I said she needs to start Hall because Temmie's still coming back from an injury to cover Collier because Collier is red hot and also one of the top 5 players in the league. Maybe MVP runner-up right now. What did she do? She started Samuelson and Smith and then put Smith on her, who's not a good defender, a poor defender, and it was a disaster. It was a disaster in the first quarter and it was a disaster in the beginning of the third quarter, which it doesn't take much to figure this out, especially after Hall went on a 3-point barrage last game. She deserved to be starting, Rob.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know why she didn't start Hall. She can shut down, at least not let that one player that always plays against the Fever come in and hit the first 10 points off of them. And so,
Well, Samuelson hasn't been hitting her 3, so just don't start Samuelson. And, Smith doesn't play well, you pull her out. But that way you're not messing with the starting, because Smith has pretty much been starting all year except for a couple of games. You're not messing with the starting lineup too much. But Hall's been getting lots of minutes anyways. She's used to playing with the starters. So I don't see the reasoning for not starting Hall. She's the exact same height as Collier. She can guard both a guard or a small forward because she's 6'1", and she's quick and agile. So Collier's perfect for her to cover. So I don't understand why she didn't start her. It was a disaster that she didn't. They still caught up. They were only down 1 at halftime. And then the third quarter, she goes back to the starting lineup, knowing that it wasn't working, and it was a disaster again. And the momentum just they never got the momentum back after that.
Also, that little bugaboo, that half-court offense you can't even call it that. It's just a half-court, bring the ball up and people stand around and pass the ball around. There's no movement or anything.
It was night and day. If you watch Minnesota Lynx, no one likes Coach Reeves, but she's a very good coach. You can tell by how her team plays. Their half-court offense is very good. There's movement, there's cuts, all sorts of things that gives a flow to their half-court offense. That doesn't exist with the Fever. Still, even with Caitlin Clark at the helm, she can't make the other 4 players move and cut properly.
Right, and they had a problem with her being double-teamed again. They went back to the old way where, okay, she's being double-teamed, and they just okay, pass me the ball. I can't pass you the ball unless you, as my coaches used to say, come to the ball. Come to the ball.
Yeah, she got double-teamed once in the second half, and it was part her fault. She didn't recognize it soon enough, but part because the other 4 players, none of them moved when the double team was happening. So she ended up forcing it. I think it was to Temmie, but it didn't get there. It got stolen. So that was a turnover, but that wasn't all Caitlin Clark's fault. It was the players didn't move. But Caitlin Clark didn't play good first quarter. I think she started out like 1 for 8. Then she was 4 for 5. She had a really good second quarter. And then the second half was okay.
And we discussed this in other videos. Her defense is really poor. She has poor defense. She has poor defensive skills. Just bending your knees is not defense. She doesn't slide her feet. And there's different ways that you can kind of cheat on defense. If the person is right-handed and you know they're going to go right, you don't keep your feet together or they're going to drive by you. What was happening. You drop your left foot back so then you can slide and beat that person or guide them from away from the basket while they're going to the right. She has no concept on that.
No, Rob, but her stance still is incorrect. She's bending her knees more than she was in game 1, but she's still not bending them enough. So that's why she struggles, because they were just abusing her when they drove to the basket. Caitlin Clark's on-ball defense is inconsistent. Some games she looks okay. Her player doesn't get by her so easily. But yesterday, when she had some quicker, more talented guards, McBride and Williams were just dribbling right past her. And so she's got to improve on that if she wants to be the best player in the league. You can't be a lousy on-ball defender and be called the best player in the league. So
Right.
she
And
needs to get that up to at least average.
and if the person's faster than you, like it'd be like if I was going to guard you, Mark, I'm not gonna guard you close because I can't move, and you're going to be faster than me. You're going to drive right by me. So what I do, I would play off of you, so I can at least, okay, I know I'm not as fast as he is, but I'm away from him, so at least I can kind of cut him off a little. So
right. It didn't matter who she was covering. So even when she was covering Heidman dribbled right past her too. So it doesn't matter who she was covering. But it wasn't just her. The defense was poor because they only have two good defenders. They have Boston in the post, and they have Hall on the perimeter. Temmie's capable of playing good defense, but she hasn't played enough games. She's all rusty and everything, so she probably doesn't have the timing and the energy. But she can play pretty good defense, and Clark can play very good off the ball defense. But other than that, name me a good defender on the team, Rob.
No, that's Hall's the only one. So that's what you do as a coach. So I mean, since they're not playing that well on defense, okay, go to a zone. Zone's more like you said, off the ball. So Parker's good off the ball. Most of them are good off the ball. They're not good on pressuring the ball. Go to a zone, and if they beat you in the zone, yeah, but at least the zone, you can at least cut the person off as they're driving by you. There's help already there. You're not going to drive it away to the basket. So go to a zone.
I'm not sure why she's so hesitant to not use the zone more, other than the fact that she probably doesn't understand it and doesn't know how to teach it well. Jim Boeheim is retired. Hire him for a week and have him teach the zone.
Yeah.
He taught it and used it for like 50 years.
Yeah.
Effectively. So that's all I can say. If her and the assistant coaches, none of them know how to teach his zone properly, it can't be all on the players, not doing it right.
Right.
They're teachable. So that's the problem. I don't think she knows what she's doing with the zone.
That's what
I agree with you. If you've got non-talented on-the-ball defenders, the zone can cover up for some of that weakness.
Right. I mean, that's what other teams do to them. That when they start getting hot, they go, "Okay, we'll go to a zone," and then the Fever's like, "What? What is this? A zone? Okay."
Right, and they're not good against the zone offensively.
No.
They need more than Caitlin Clark to do that. So it's unfortunate that she is clueless, but she's terrible at substitutions. I mean, she brought in Wheeler, who didn't play poorly, but then Mitchell was hot, and she sat Mitchell for like the rest of the second half while she was hot, which made no sense. Wheeler and Clark don't belong in the court at the same time, although yesterday it was okay because Wheeler got out of Clark's way and let her run the offense.
Mm-hmm.
But it was ridiculous that Mitchell was sitting when she was hot. And Clark never got a rest. She played 38 minutes. She has to play 34 minutes. So she's fresher. She can play better defense. Her legs are there, so she can hit her 3-point shot. And, so what they did, Rob, Minnesota Lynx decided to not go after offensive rebounds and get back on defense so Clark couldn't have the team run and push the pace. Mm-hmm. Before the game, apparently, Coach Reeve changed her tune on Clark and said, she's an exceptional player, and that's because of the pace and her passing ability. So she noticed that about her abilities and decided to make sure she didn't by having 4 people get back on defense and only 1 person get the offensive rebound. Now, they lost on offensive rebounding because the offensive rebounding advantage was a clear advantage for the Fever, who had 15 offensive rebounds, while 8 only by Minnesota Lynx.
Mm-hmm.
So they were so afraid of the fast-paced offense by Clark, they gave up on offensive rebounds.
No, I don't know if they're afraid. That was smart coaching. They're like, okay.
Not afraid in a bad way, afraid like in a good way. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they get back on defense. It's really hard. If you got that's the hardest thing to do is get back on defense. I had drills like that. I just get the rebound and throw the ball down the court, and hopefully somebody will be back there. But they got to get back on defense, and that cuts off the pace. That was good coaching.
And Clark's offense, passes were a little bit off on her full length of court passes. I think she had like 2 to Hall that were just off by a little bit. But that's not a big deal because she normally hits that almost all the time. But she did have 7 turnovers, and a couple because her passes were off, and once she got trapped. I think there was a travel call too that was iffy. But 7 turnovers is too many. She's got to cut down on that, obviously. But the problem is she started the wrong 5. They got off to a poor start. she reacted too slowly to that. And then she put in Timmy. She didn't put in Hall first. She put in Timmy first. Hall needed to start. And I think Melissa Smith seems to have checked out on the team. And I'm changing my tune how good a player she is. I think she's not as good as player as I thought she was. I thought she was a pretty good player. She only seems to have good games against weaker teams, with teams with weaker front lines. Anytime there's a good front line, she seems to have a poor game.
And she gets the ball inside and she doesn't know what to do. She's just like, oh, what do I do? I got the ball.
She got the ball and drove into 3 people, Rob, yesterday. 3 people. She just she sees it, instead of like maybe taking a pull-up jumper or doing something else. She drove in even though there was 3 people there. And of course, her shot got blocked.
Yeah,
what did she expect?
Mark, if you could have blocked her shot,
I don't know, Rob. Her and Samuelson, if she doesn't hit her 3, she's not a good enough defender to start. She shouldn't be starting. I don't think she's a starter caliber wise in terms of overall talent. I think she's a fine player for like 6th, 7th, 8th player off the bench. But she's not a starter for a good team. And she shouldn't be starting. And Melissa Smith, I don't know what to say. I thought she was a starter, at least, caliber wise, but now I'm wondering, Rob.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Smith played 10 minutes and got 2 points. She was 1 for 4 and did have 3 rebounds, which isn't bad for 10 minutes. Samuelson was 0 for 4, 0 for 2 for threes, and they were wide open threes. And she missed them, and she had 0 points. 24 minutes between the two of them, 2 points. And those were starters. And Boston,
you didn't even
go ahead, Rob.
Talk about Dantos coming Wednesday. You didn't talk about Dantos and her threes.
What
you didn't say about Dantos and her threes. I mean, she's another big player, and they got her outside.
Right. Well, Dantos is a mixed bag. She's slow, but she has a nice turnaround jumper in the post, which very few players in the WNBA have. And it's not a hard shot when you're doing it from 12 feet away. But she was shooting 33% career-wise and 33% this year coming into this game from 3. So it's not bad. But she took 5 and missed all 5, and she forced one with two defenders right in front of her. I have no idea. It wasn't like she was hot. It wasn't like a heat check like Steph Curry. And then she bricked 2 wide open ones in the 4th quarter. And so they just don't have a lot of depth right now until Fagbenley plays better and Smith checks back in. She's not there mentally, Rob.
And in Boston, she didn't have a great game. She usually has a lot of assists, at least like 4 or 5 assists. She only had 1.
Well, she rebounded well, but she just didn't. She was 5 for 11, but it seemed worse than that. She missed some easy shots, and Samuelson missed the layup.
Out of her hands.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. She has to strengthen up her hand, because when she's in the post, sometimes the ball gets knocked out of her hands too easily. Now, sometimes it's a foul and doesn't get called, but she needs to strengthen up her. So, same thing with Hall. They need to do strength exercises for their hands.
Right. But the one thing is, Mark, the Fever is a young team. They played against a really good team, and just like unlike the other teams when they get interviewed about how the other players are, Caitlin Clark, gave raves to the and props to the Lynx teams. They were a great team. They were good, well coached. So that's just her. But Mitchell, what I like is that Mitchell is really kind of bonded with her too. Hopefully, I don't think she'll leave. I think she really does like Caitlin Clark now. She really does.
Yeah, let's go over it. Mitchell was 2 for 10 from threes, but had some really nice 2-point baskets and drives to the basket. She made like 2 really nice drives to the basket. And she was 8 for 17 and hit 21 points. But she had 1 great assist in the post, like a pocket pass. And she actually passed it back to Clark a couple times. So it was like she didn't play poorly, but her 3-point shot was off. Clark was 8 for 18, 3 for 8 from threes, 4 for 4 in the line. She had 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal, and had 23 points. But she was a minus 13, and they lost by 10. So, but Mitchell was a minus 17 because the second quarter is when they went on a run there. But I don't think it was because Wheeler was in there. I just think it's because she had Hall in there, and also Temi played some of the second quarter. And so Temi was off. She seemed a little lost out there because she just came back from an injury. So I'm not going to jump on her case. But she got 5 rebounds in 16 minutes. So and she scored 4 points. She was 2 for 4. So, but she's going to be valuable once she gets back into practice, Rob.
Right, right.
I don't think Wallace is such a bad player that she shouldn't play. I don't know how you go from getting 25 minutes a game, which is way too many, to 0. She wasn't playing that poorly. She thought she was a lockdown defender, and now she's not even worth getting 5 minutes or to give a spell to say, I don't know, to give a spell to Mitchell or something like that.
Right.
And again, I don't know. Wheeler should be playing 6 minutes, and Clark should be playing 34, and that's it. Very simple concept. He plays 6 minutes when Clark's not in there, and then you can rotate Hall and Mitchell, and you can get some playing time to Wallace. Because if they're going to run, they have to have depth. And I don't know Berger, because she hasn't played her all year. I don't know how good she is.
Right.
I have no idea. She played more minutes last year because Clark wasn't there, because she was like the backup point guard last year. So I have no idea. But if they have to have depth. Unfortunately, they don't have a lot of depth, so they have to play Dantas. But she's not good when Clark wants to run because she's too slow. Collier was great. She was 12 for 18, only 1 for 4 for threes, but she also had 5 rebounds, and she's been 31 points. And this is how stupid it is for her not to have started Hall over Samuelson or Melissa Smith. Since the break, since they came back from the Olympics, Collier is scored 17 points, 30, 23, 27, and 31. And she shot 66%, 73%, 60%, 81%, and 46% in those 5 games. So she's been on fire like no one else in the league. What does she do? She puts the worst big court defender on her in the beginning of the game and wonders why they were getting blown out in the beginning of the first quarter. It's mind-boggling. This is not complicated stuff, Rob. I have to really question her IQ, and not just her coaching ability, but her IQ.
Put your best defender on the best offensive player.
Well, she put their worst defender on her. So it's so silly.
Yeah, I think she got it backwards. Maybe she's dyslexic. I don't know, but she did it wrong.
Right. So I think Clark had an okay game, and she had a great second quarter. She shot okay. She just started out cold. But she needs to be in the second half. She only took 5 shots, and one was like with less than a minute left. So she really only took like 4 shots. She needs to shoot. She was passing too much in the second half. She needs to be more assertive. There was times where she did a step back. She did a fake out the defender, and then she didn't shoot. She drove to the basket or passed or something like that. So I don't know why she was hesitant in the second half to shoot.
Be a little more selfish. I mean, be a little more selfish. If you're the best shooter on the team, you got to shoot it. I mean, but that's part of the coaching too. You take them aside, you say, hey, you're the best shooter on the team. Shoot the ball. Don't pass. I mean, passing's fine. Yeah, you're a good passer, but if you're open, shoot the ball.
So anybody who's saying on the internet, I've heard there's some rumors about that. People actually saying this on the internet that Christy Side should be coach of the year. You're delusional. He is still clueless. The only reason this team has been winning is because they're playing Caitlin Clark's offense, and they have some talent. That's the only reason they're winning. They're winning despite Christy Sides. All right, we did do some good team chemistry stuff in the break. We'll give her that. They won the 2 games against 2 good teams on the way back, but not because of her. I'm not giving her any credit until she shows me that she knows how to do just basic substitutions. She did call a good timeout in the third quarter. She didn't wait till they scored 20 straight points in the beginning of the third quarter. She called a good timeout. And what did she do? She left the starters in, though. She left the starters in that got blown out in the beginning of the first quarter and the beginning of the third quarter. Why didn't she start Hall in the second half? Why did she feel obligated to have the same starting lineup in the second half? She is terrible at in-game adjustments. She is not a good coach.
Like I said again, Mark, I give you props. You've never coached a basketball game in your life, and you've already figured out what she should be doing. You're saying exactly what I should be saying, and most other people. Why don't you start Hall, start her, and also why you have her on the bench and have somebody else in there to try to guard the best offensive player? It's like, what are you thinking?
I have no confidence that they're going to pull an upset in the playoffs with her as coach. It could happen because it's best of three. Caitlin Clark could have a couple great games or whatever. Mitchell could go off or whatever. Boston go off. But I don't have a lot of confidence that she's a good enough coach to lead them to an upset.
I don't know if they play the Son of Liberty, they're in big trouble. They're in big trouble.
Well, right now it looks like they're going to play the Lynx or the Sun, and those aren't teams they're going to beat 2 out of 3 unless they get real lucky. You know, it could happen. Like I said, it's a short series. It's the first round. If you don't know, it's best of 3, and then it's best of 5 for the semis and the finals.
But unfortunately, like I said, Mark, their problem is that they are a young team and they've never been there before, and that's what happens. Along with the coaching is not that great because they're a young team. They haven't been in those situations before. Yeah. Well, she's in the running for Coach of the Year, so I gotta kind of build her up a little.
As far as I can see, she's the worst coach in the league, but I don't know for sure. But from what I observed, she does too many dumb things. She's totally clueless. And tell me what she does well.
I don't know. Not you're asking me? Nothing.
Someone said Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
they had 1 10 of 15 and 4 or 5. But again, it's not because of her.
Oh, no.
She's got a talented young team. And Caitlin Clark. That's why they're winning.
Exactly.
And because they're a unique team because of Caitlin Clark that can run and do the up-tempo, fast-paced offense, which is very difficult for teams to deal with.
Right.
They have 3 all-stars. So that's why they're winning. So
all right.
You're insane.
Yeah.
The camera work. There was this one pass from Clark to Lexi Hall, and it was a great pass, although we didn't really see it because the cameraman was so slow it didn't get to underneath the camera. So camera work wasn't very good. NBA TV, I know they're a smaller network, but that's no excuse, really. So they're going to be doing our next.
There's people are complaining about that, Mark, with NBA TV, because they said this should have been a national broadcasted game, of course, but they put it on NBA TV because of streaming rights. They want to make money, so a lot of people could not see this game.
Well, they need to do a better job. Unfortunately, we're stuck with NBA TV and their lousy camera work again, and that's our next live show. So you join us for that. That's going to be tomorrow night. It's Monday, August 26th, against Atlanta. They really need that win. It's at 7:30, so please join us for that. So our normal live show is 6 to 8. So our regular live show will only be 6 to 7:30 tomorrow, because then we're going to cut over to the game. So join us for tomorrow. And then next Monday, we are not going to be doing our live show because it's Labor Day. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, why are you upsetting Rob? We're going for 4,000 subscribers.
I'm upset.
That's his upset look. So please subscribe and hit that notification bell when you do. If you like this video, hit the like button. And let us know what you think about Coach Sides in the game and your take on everything that we said and what you saw during the game. And if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to donate to this channel, there's super chats and super thanks down below. And there's a link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.